After a year in Spain, I returned to Cuba. Moving to Spain completely transformed my life. Even my house is totally different from my house in Cuba. Today, I'll demonstrate some differences in common household items found in Cuban homes. My house is quite simple, so let's examine some of the most striking differences. Hi, my people, how are you? And welcome back to my channel. In case you don't know me, I'm Anita, I'm Cuban, I live in Spain, but right now I'm visiting Cuba. Look at these backgrounds and these views. This is my mom's house where I grew up for most of my life. I'm clearly not in Spain. In this video, I'll be sharing the differences between my current home and my house in Spain. In Spain, I live a completely different life compared to my home in Cuba. But let's see, there are a ton of differences. Just look at the house. There are so many. But what's going on? I'm going to talk to you about the differences like in houses in general that catch my attention the most. And that's it. Let's start with this video. Remember to subscribe, like, and engage with this video. I'm sure you'll find it fascinating and enjoyable. First of all, the front of the houses. Here, there are a lot of houses with bars, as you can see. This is for, well, security and all that, and it's quite common for houses to have bars. My house has bars here on the window, but many houses also have bars on the doors. I haven't seen bars in northern Spain where I live, but I know they exist in some places. One very common thing in houses here in Cuba are these things, which we call sillones or balances. It depends on the area of Cuba where they live. Many houses here have these, and I think that's one of the differences between houses in Cuba and houses in Spain. Oh, yeah, maybe there was something like this in Spain, but a long time ago. Honestly, I haven't seen this in Spain. Well, I'm sure, of course there are. But from what I've seen in modern houses in Spain, what you see the most is a sofa. Even those sofas that can also be beds, sofa beds. But here in Cuba, almost every house has one of these. Because even small children are put to sleep in one of these, and many can't fall asleep without an armchair. Another thing I don't have here in my house in Cuba, and that many houses don't have, in Spain or other more developed countries, we have home internet. There in Spain, one of the things that surprised me when I arrived is that right away, I called a technician who came to install that little device for me. Wi-Fi for the entire house is available, but I've lived my whole life in Cuba without it. And in fact, even today, we don't have Wi-Fi here at home. We only rely on mobile data. We connect to Wi-Fi in a park because that's where it's available. Now, how do you get that installed? There's a huge waiting list and line with the only telecommunications company here. It's very hard to get it. Some people have it, but most don't. You can only get Wi-Fi if you have a landline phone. We don't have a landline at my house, so we'll never be able to get Wi-Fi. As long as we live in Cuba. Another particular thing about houses in Cuba is this. And this is called a cistern.
No, actually, that's where the pump is because I don't have a cistern.
The pump.
What I have is a water thief, that's what they call it. Which is a pump that runs directly from the pipe.
Water doesn't come in easily here. In Spain, I don't have elevated tanks. Now I'll show you the tank here.
The water doesn't rise when incomplete input, only up to this height, and then...
We have to push it.
Exactly.
And so here is how this breaker works. It's to pump the water up.
To turn it on so it fills the tank.
Yes, so, well, we're also going to show you the tank. Well, for example, this is something that broke and people put trash like this on the power poles. Then the garbage truck comes by. The streets here lack trash containers, unlike in Spain. Let's continue examining other notable differences between houses in Cuba and Spain. Another thing that's very common here in houses in Cuba are these aluminum windows and doors. Many houses have them, which I haven't seen in Spain, at least not where I live. I see that they're usually made of wood or plastic and stuff like that, but not aluminum like this. So why does this exist? Now, this is like a material that's cheaper. Since wooden doors are very expensive here, many houses opt for this material. It's more because it's cheap, not affordable.
Well, actually, aluminum material is used because the wood you can get here sometimes isn't properly dried. And so, besides being expensive, the climate is very humid, so wooden doors and windows get damaged more easily. Once you install one of these aluminum windows, you have doors and windows for life.
Ah, that's it. They're more durable.
Exactly, and you don't have to replace it.
Of course. And here too, well, the windows, most of the windows here in my house are like this. There's only one made of wood. Another common item in Cuban homes, though not everyone owns one, because this is a device, an appliance that's quite expensive. But many families decide to invest in a freezer, as they call it here, to store more food. As you know, the food problems in Cuba, well, there just isn't any. Or when it seems like buying in bulk, and many people choose this so they can store much more food. Besides, when the electricity goes out, it also keeps things cold, so it's a way to store more food. And when the power goes out, food is stored better, so it doesn't spoil. Luckily, there's one here in my house now, but there wasn't a few years ago. And let's see, what's in here? What do you have here, Mom? The largest amount of meat is stored here. Luckily, we now have some to eat, as there are many of us at home. But anyway, this is something that I don't know if they have in Spain. I think they do, but it's not like everyone has one, because, for example, I don't have one.
Well, that's really what it's for. That's what it's used for.
Here, when you find out that there's chicken available somewhere, if you have money to buy it, you don't buy just a little pack of chicken to last for a week.
You buy for the whole month. You're used to buying food for the month, so you stock up here.
And the other thing you mentioned?
Yes. For example, if I have something stored in the freezer and the power goes out, it thaws more easily.
So I move everything over here and this keeps the cold for 12 hours.
And then it guarantees that what I have stored doesn't go bad.
Here, we don't throw food away. Whatever is left over is saved and eaten the next day.
Well, this is also something, I don't know if it's from another country, but it's very common in Cuba, and it's to make a closet, a cement wardrobe built into the wall. It's very expensive to buy a wooden wardrobe separately. And as we already explained, because of the humidity, it gets ruined. It gets this little bug called comegen too, and it's terrible. So it's better and more durable this way. To build this wardrobe out of cement. So, well, in my house, all the wardrobes are made of cement, and here you do everything. You put your clothes in, it's like the wardrobe, you know. But made of cement, I'm unsure if this is common in other countries, but in Spain, I haven't personally seen it. In my Spanish home, the wardrobes are made of wood.
Well, yes, they do make closets, which is what we call them here, out of wood like that. There are a lot of people who do put wooden doors and drawers on them, but they're extremely expensive. And besides, houses in Cuba tend to retain a lot of humidity, so I prefer to leave them like that. At some point, I plan to put a little curtain to cover the clothes so they wouldn't get dusty, but I haven't done it. But I didn't choose wood because it's very expensive.
It's very expensive to make the wooden part of the closet, so I left it like that.
And well, just like the closet is made of cement, we also have the kitchen counter made of cement. There are many houses that do put tiles on it. That's right, us too, because our financial situation didn't allow us to. So that's how my mom's small kitchen turned out in many. A friend of ours who lives in the United States says it's vintage, that she loves it. Another common practice in Cuban homes, which I initially did in Spain, is... But then I said, look, it's not necessary because there's a lot over there. It's about recycling these things. For example, Mom, what do you have stored here? Show us. For example, this, is it from detergent? No.
No, it's from coffee.
Was that from coffee?
It was from coffee, and I keep it for coffee.
And what do you have there? More coffee?
Yes.
I mean, those little things aren't thrown away here. They're reused for anything. And well, that's how we Cubans live. There are many Cubans who go abroad and keep doing these kinds of things. I don't do it because I'm used to things being readily available in stores. But here, it's not that simple.
And this was a gift from a friend who sent me this coffee just like this, and I thought it was super cool, and I've kept it. And she also sent me a coffee mate creamer. And I gave it to Elena so she could store the kids' milk, the powdered milk.
Yes, and another thing, Mom. People always ask me, why don't we paint the houses in Cuba? Why are the houses unpainted?
No. Yes, we would love to paint them, but the problem is that paint is very expensive. My house is very big. And it's very hard for me. And the other thing is that generally houses get very damaged because of the humidity and pieces of the wall fall off. And so when you're going to paint, first you have to do some repairs. And just imagine, a bag of cement costs 3,000 pesos. That's more than the minimum wage of a Cuban.
And so it's very hard to get construction materials to repair and then to paint.
You procrastinate repeatedly, leaving the task unfinished.
Of course. As you can see, my house is like this, open, without doors or anything. That's good. There are many houses in Cuba that are like this, especially the old ones, because this is like an old structure. Oh, how beautiful, my God, my precious niece. Come here. This is the hallway where my mom used to have her little plants, but, well, many of the plants aren't here anymore. The walls are in this condition due to the humidity. And, well, another thing that almost all Cuban houses have this, both the old ones and the modern ones. It's a wash basin. Here we have it, because in the past and even now, many people wash their clothes here by hand. I know that in Spain this used to exist, and in old houses it still does, but not in modern ones. Because in my house I don't have wash basins, but here in Cuba, even in modern houses, they still make wash basins because this is really necessary. There's a lot of background noise. I'm sorry about that, but well, here you put clothes in the washing machine and wash them. Many people in Spain keep old machines that have limited functions. For example, my mom had this one that actually broke. We bought a modern one the other day, which is already working here in the little laundry room. This thing about battles is very typical of Cubans, and it's a bit ugly. Sure, some have prettier houses, but ours is vintage. And I don't know if you can see well from there. See? The elevated tank.
You can see better from there.
You can see better from there. Almost all the houses here have water tanks, including ours. That's another house's water tank, and there's our house's tank. We pump the water up there to use it in the house because, as we already explained, the water pressure is very low. And in many neighborhoods, the water doesn't come in. In many neighborhoods, the water just doesn't come in. I mean, it's at specific times, and during that time, you have to take advantage and pump the water up to your tank. So you have water during the day, because if you don't, you'll be left without water.
There are even places where, for example, here I need a pump to get the water up.
There are places in the city where it's not necessary. The water rises on its own by gravity, but they only supply it at a specific time of day. So if you don't have a tank to store water, when they cut off the water, you end up without any water. So there are many people who don't have the possibility to install an elevated tank to then supply the whole house to provide water for the entire house. And so what they have is a tank on the ground.
Like little cubes.
And then they take the water out with little cubes.
The truth is, here we go through a lot of hardship. Nothing like Spain, as you can see. As you can see, the tanks on all the houses. Oh, by the way, when I made the house video, a lot of people told me that this fiber cement roof we have here and in many other houses in Cuba, it's kind of carcinogenic, it's harmful or something like that.
So what do I do?
But it's banned in the European Union, but not here in Cuba. But we didn't have a choice.
When people's homes are damaged by hurricanes and other natural disasters, they can receive assistance here.
The roof they give you is that one, so you can replace it on your house. No, there's nothing else.
And another very common thing in Cuban homes, and that every Cuban mother, well, not just Cuban mothers, every Cuban likes to have, it's a clothesline. And if it can be right in the sun, so it gets sunlight, even better. Because here, most people dry their clothes in the sun. And well, here is the clothesline. I'm gonna show you some pictures of my mom from yesterday when she was hanging up the laundry. This space is very important as we rely on the sun to dry our clothes. This is our small terrace with views of our lovely neighborhood. Come see it. And well, I don't know if in Spain there are many people who do hang their clothes. I thought when I moved to Galicia, since they told me it rains so much, that people wouldn't hang their clothes, but when the sun comes out, they do hang them. Well, over there, I have a dryer, so I dry my clothes and put them away right away. Not here. Here, you hang them and then put them away so they get plenty of sun. Here are some more small plants. Here we have this electrical thing. I think this is dangerous. It's so close, honestly, but oh well. And then the neighborhood. Tell me something that really surprises you, like about my house, for example, in Spain, something that catches your attention and that I don't know. Like something you think you won't miss from here if you move over there.
Well, the thing about cleaning with the...
Oh yeah, because right here, we clean by throwing water. And I'll show you some pictures too.
I'm a bit picky about cleanliness, and I like to use water. I feel like if I don't use water, I don't really clean the house, but I do think I can get used to cleaning with the... What's it called?
The vacuum cleaner.
And with the other one, the one that goes in like this?
The mop?
The mop, yes.
Yes, would you get used to it?
Yes.
My apartment has wooden floors, so I can't clean with that.
I'd get used to it. And I'd also get used to that beautiful bathroom. And I'd get used to everything.
We didn't show her the bathroom, but the bathroom is nothing out of this world. It's a basic bathroom with a shower, not particularly attractive or renovated, but functional nonetheless. There are many of us who bathe with buckets, and I'm going to show you the bucket too. Thankfully, we have a shower now, but for a long time we used buckets to bathe. And that's it. Those are some of the differences between the house in Cuba and my house in Spain. And another thing, in case you're wondering, for example, I already mentioned this in my first video doing a house tour. My mom and my stepdad, the people who live here in this house, are engineers. Even if you're a professional in Cuba, it doesn't guarantee you'll have a nice house or be able to fix it up or have money for this kind of repairs. There are people who have other jobs, like we say here, who live off their own hustle and things like that, and they have better houses. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. Don't forget to subscribe. If this is the first time you're seeing me, I'm Anita. I'm from Cuba, but I live in Spain. And well, you're going to see videos now about Cuba, Spain, and a mix like that. Like, if you enjoyed it, thanks for watching. New video next Friday. And a big thanks to my mom for joining me in this video and explaining everything about Cuban houses so well. Bye.